Well, good morning, everyone. It's our last day in Normandy, and we've had an absolute epic adventure. Yesterday was absolutely incredible, as you saw. If you've been watching these videos, it was amazing. The weather this week has probably been the very best it's ever been since I've been doing these Normandy tours. Just incredible. They called for rain, and we didn't see a drop of rain during our journeys and our excursions yesterday. Today perhaps could be a little bit different. It's a little overcast now. It's quite pleasant. It's in the high 60s, and so we'll see how that goes. But today we're going to take our excursions perhaps the farthest that we go in Normandy. That's all the way up to the British sector, all the way up to Caen. We'll be at the museum today. We'll also be at Pegasus Bridge, which, by the way, was the first site for any of the Normandy landings, the British paratroopers, who technically were on the ground first before any of the Americans. So we'll be at that place, pretty famous site. And then we'll swing over to Sword, Juno, and Gold beaches, the British sector, the British contribution, which was very considerable during D-Day. So with that being said, let's get into it, and here we go. We're back on the road this morning. We have about an hour and a half commute from St. Mary Glees all the way to Caen, so it's another great opportunity to enjoy the French countryside and, of course, a little bit of the French traffic. It wasn't too far after that we arrive at our destination, our first objective, Pegasus Bridge. This was the location of the 5th British Paratrooper Brigade that took this bridge and was ordered to hold it until reinforcements came from the beach. Here is an 80-year-old gun that is still there guarding this emplacement. It's weathered pretty good for 80 years, I would say. And of course, here is the statue of the commander of that mission, looking on to the bridge from the place where the gliders actually landed, looking toward the canal. Here is the marker, of course, designating this historical place. And this is the original bridge that was now moved to a slightly closer location for preservation. It's next to the museum there. But they've done a really good job of recreating the original bridge that's being used every single day by commuters going across the canal. This is an example of a British glider that they used. It's a recreation. And it's quite more robust, I would say, than the American version. A good bit safer. That would be a great way to say that. And here's a look on the inside of the glider. This is, of course, where the pilots would have sat, and then the paratroopers in the back. It's a great creation. This is, in fact, the real glider that landed on D-Day. They've taken sections of it and preserved it there in the museum. Quite interesting. And of course, here's another great artifact that I was very interested in. This is a British version of the Jeep. This Jeep was made in America and highly modified by the British. They tended to take a lot of our stuff and make modifications that suited their purposes. And of course, before we left, we had to take a photograph for memory's sake. Then it was on to the Disney World of World War II museums in Caen. This place is so huge and so encompassing that it really takes, in my opinion, a couple of days to do this and to do it right. We had just a few hours, but we were able to find this very interesting and very, very rare, unique artifact. This is a German motorcycle that is unrestored. Of course, a lot of them are out there, but not very many that were unrestored. And before we left, we took one more picture for memory's sake. And then it was on to the guns of Long-sur-Mer, and these guns are very well preserved, perhaps some of the best examples of Hitler's Atlantic Wall. The guns are still in their original housings. And what I love to tell our folks is that these guns have not fired, they have not sounded in over 80 years, so it's really a monument to peace as it is to war. This is the inside of the observation bunker where the German soldiers would have slept and would have spent a lot of their time there on the Normandy coast. It looks very similar to the way it did in 1944. Not much has changed. A fairly desolate place. Not much is different. There would have been an exit here in the back of the observation deck, and of course you could go around the side and to the front of the observation deck. Take a look. There's about a 100-foot drop that would go straight down. But this is very, very well preserved. And of course, one more picture for our memories. And it's so easy to find beauty in a place if you just look for it. Here's a poppy that's growing in the middle of the wheat fields to remind us that it is in fact a place of peace. Then it's on to Judo Beach. And you can see here, this is a wonderful location of one of our ghost photos where the Allies were marching German prisoners across this beach. This was in fact the Canadian contribution to this location, and they're the only ones who made their objective for that day. And then it was on to a little fishing village there on the Normandy coast, and we found perhaps the very, very best dessert in all of Normandy, in my opinion. I have no words for this. It was absolutely incredible, but we did want to take a picture for posterity's sake, so here it is. And in our opinion, it was the perfect place to end day 6 in Normandy.